Got a story about the odds of 1 in a million? Tell us what happened. I'm allergic to cold. Literally. I get terrible hives and swelling, I puke, I black out, and not only when it's freezing. If it's 45 degrees outside and I'm not wearing a jacket, this is a problem. I always have an adrenaline injection handy in case I drink something too cold or develop strong symptoms. Oh, please tell me you moved somewhere warm. It's been 4 hours, looks like winter took 'em. I was struck by lightning while speaking on my home phone. It was in the early 90s. Lightning hit the phone line and reached the handset and my ear. My parents took me to the emergency room. I had difficulty talking. In my head I knew what I wanted to say, but I couldn't make my mouth do it. I was stuttering badly. Doctor told me I had a dose of good old electric shock therapy. The next day, I got back my ability to speak. One thing remained though, since then I have had a headache every time it's going to be a thunderstorm. Once I fell asleep in an awkward position and pinched a nerve in my neck. I pinched it so hard that the entire right side of my body got paralyzed. It was though I had been numb for several months. When I woke up, the pain was unbearable. I couldn't speak, move, or do anything at all. The ER doctor thought I had a stroke. My physician said he'd never seen any accidents like that. My recovery took several months, but now I'm able to move my right arm and leg again, although the numbness didn't completely go away. My life is back to normal, but sometimes the pain and cramps reappear. I hate to read things like that. Does this mean we cannot be safe even if lying down on a mattress? Not sure if this is good consolation, but the odds of spontaneous combustion while sleeping are higher than what happened to me. I had 8 wisdom teeth. My dentist said he had never seen anything of the sort and even called all his colleagues to come and marvel at my teeth. Edit. Can't find the x-ray shot, but I kept the teeth. I am unbelievably tall, but I still haven't figured out whether it's a gift or a punishment. 7 feet, yes really, I don't know how frequently this occurs. The odds of growing taller than 6'9" is 1 out of 1,600,000, and there is 1 chance out of 2 that someone asks you, "How is the weather up there?" You should reply, "Fine, and how's the smell of my balls down there?" And there is 1 chance out of 2 that someone will ask you, "How's the weather up there?" And 7 out of 8 chances that someone asks you, "Do you play basketball?" I completely lost hearing in my left ear, and no one could explain why. Once I had a cyst in there, but it was successfully removed when I was 6. When I was 12, I woke up one morning with horrible pain and a ringing in my ear, which went away only 3 days later, along with my hearing. Doctors checked me several times and ran an MRI test. Their conclusion was that my ear was totally functional, but it wasn't. It's a 1 in a million occurrence. On my 7th birthday, we went to Disneyland. By a stroke of luck, they had a sweepstakes on that day with a car as the grand prize. So yeah, on my 7th birthday, I got a Pontiac Firebird from Mickey Mouse. Do you still have that car? No, because then I was only 7. By the time I started driving, it was already scrap metal. I have a symmetrical 2-sided coloboma of the retina and iris. In plain words, my pupils look like keyholes, not circles. Single colobomas are very rare. Double colobomas are even rarer, and symmetric double, well, you get the idea. Edit. Made a post in r/eyes with extra info. Once I correctly guessed a 6-digit number in one attempt. The odds of 1 to a million, literally. I got into 2 accidents in 2 different cars within 45 minutes. Edit. In both cases, I wasn't the driver. Our first car was hit from the side, then a friend picked us up, but his car lost control, we slipped off the road and crashed into a pole. Both accidents weren't serious, but what a coincidence. I had the same experience if riding in an ambulance counts. A guy cut me off when merging and I didn't have time to brake. I got my back hurt in the accident and had to leave in an ambulance. Well, what do you know, on the way to the hospital, someone cut us off again. What kind of a moron do you have to be to cut off an ambulance? I was diagnosed with primary hyperoxaluria, a really rare liver disease. There is only about 3,000 people in the entire US who have this diagnosis. In short, my system generates a lot of kidney stones, and I need a double transplant to fix it. I have 2 webbed or fused toes on both feet. Stalin had that too. Braichike. My ex has survived multiple lightning hits, but he died in an accident. Apparently, he wasn't as lucky as he thought. Life can be a real bitch. I read here about some guy in the early 20th century who would lock himself in a barrel, roll down the river, fall down the Niagara Falls just for the thrill of it. He repeated this feat several times and ended up all right. Until one day he slipped on an orange peel, broke his neck, and died. I have an extremely rare skin condition. Only one person in a million has it. They say in all likelihood I will never meet another person with the same disease. For the curious, the condition in question is the Hailey-Hailey disease. Once I met a guy on Tinder. We were going to have dinner together, but he didn't come. I texted him, but he didn't reply. Then I messaged him on Tinder. He said he was busy. But then I got the reply to my text message. It turned out I texted the wrong guy. I actually reached Gerard Butler, the actor. I thought it was a joke until he called me on FaceTime. What a cool guy. I had a rare and potentially deadly rash caused by a medication. I remember myself laughing at the warning on the bottle like, with my luck, I'd definitely develop this condition. And that's exactly what happened. Ended up in the burn center with flaky skin. Not a really fun week that was. You got Stevens-Johnson? Yep, you too? You should have taken your medicine, not Steven Johnson's. LOL, thanks for the tip, that was funny. Not sure what were the odds, but I survived a non-survivable plane crash. It was an air tour over the desert in western China. I was about 7 and my father's friend, a part-time pilot, was showing me around. We were flying on the old U-2, which is known for being reliable and fail-safe. Unfortunately, the plane crashed, the pilot didn't make it, and I just got a concussion and passed out for a day in the middle of the desert. The city and the airport were 30 miles away. The people who found me turned out to be tree planting workers. They plant greens in the desert to protect cities from sandstorms. It's common practice in the desert cities of China. They were supposed to pick up some kind of package, and the only reason they strayed and went to the desert was that they wanted to see how long it takes to boil an egg in the sand. That's so awesome! Have you developed aerophobia after that? Nah. To be honest, I don't remember anything as clearly that it could give me any sort of psychological trauma. I have no idea what the odds are on this, but I was born with 12 fingers, 6 on each hand. I was diagnosed with leukemia, but then I got infected with a bacteria that killed it. That's really a 1 in a million kind of thing. Edit. Although because of that bacteria, I almost died too. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. A bird flew into my room through a small hole in the ceiling and shat on me. Here it is, the hole in the ceiling. When I was little, I was hanging out in the Mediterranean in Turkey. One day I was taking a dip and suddenly felt a burning sensation in the abdomen and legs. When I got out of the water, I had a 104-degree fever and my body looked like I was scraped with sandpaper. It turned out that I ran into a jellyfish, which was actually the first jellyfish in 10 years seen in that region. That was a real bummer. I was kidnapped on my way to work and locked up for 18 months with 2 more girls. The guy who kidnapped us called himself the ineffable lower god and used different methods of persuasion, manipulation, and control, trying to make us part of his family. I was allowed to go out when he sent me grocery shopping, but I knew that if I ran away, the other girls would be seriously punished. In the end, I killed him when he tried to kill me. Edit. I made a podcast about everything that happened. If you want to know more of my story, check this out. I'm allergic to potatoes. I've never met anyone else with this same problem, so I believe this is one case in a million. I've never tasted chips or French fries. My mom is allergic to potatoes too. I thought she was the only one. Wow. I'm a 19-year-old guy. Last August, we were riding with my sister when suddenly her face turned really pale. She said, "Gavin, you have yellow eyes." I instantly turned to the passenger mirror and, to my horror, I saw a pair of bright yellow eyes. After a while, I ended up with a primary diagnosis of hepatitis A. I was sick for a month. Then I came to see the doctor again since there was no improvement. Things only got worse. They sent me to the emergency room and then to a liver transplant surgery. By that time, my eyes were already dirty orange, and my urine was the color of mahogany. So in the end, that medical team saved my liver and diagnosed me with autoimmune hepatitis. Oh yeah, and now the whites of my eyes are actually white again. I had 2 benign 4-inch tumors in my spine that caused partial paralysis of my body from chest to legs. Doctors had no idea as to their origin. The removal surgery was supposed to last 4 hours, but because the tumors were deeply entangled with the spine, it actually lasted for 11 hours. Now I'm missing half the spine and experience severe chronic pain, But anyway, this is better than losing the ability to breathe and die from paralysis. As a child, I had such a crazy allergy to ant and bee venom that the slightest bite of a common black ant would cause anaphylactic shock. When my allergy doctor started immunotherapy, it turned out that his equipment wasn't sensitive enough to measure the infinitely tiny amount of the allergen needed to cause titration, so my blood sample had to be sent to some super-duper advanced lab. It took several years of immunotherapy to achieve the immune response necessary for me to be able to live safely in a frost-free climate. The good news is, I'm fine now. I had encounters with ants and wasps after my immunotherapy, and my body didn't go nuts or quit on me. Research says that since nothing has happened to me to this moment, things should be fine in the future. I no longer carry around an adrenaline shot with me, and I'm not really afraid of ants and bees. Once, my dad asked me for a quarter. I threw it to him, and it just fell into his shirt pocket.